Here that this is a non-profit organization. We do this just for the benefit of the townsfolk and some of the business people to entertain themselves with the potential candidates for the town of Rehoboth. We don't profit from this whatsoever, and regardless of what other people think. But anyways, tonight's format basically is we're going to take the people who are unopposed. We're going to bring up here, let them introduce themselves and why they're running for their office. And then between Luke and Mike and myself, we have a handful of questions we'd like to ask various candidates. And anyways, with that, I appreciate you all coming. And basically the Rehoboth Business Association board members are Luke Travis, Mike Castro, myself, Tim Johnson, John Jordan, who's behind the camera. Rich Kluge over here is our secretary. Cindy Saliba, I'm not sure what she is anymore, but she's a fixture. And Deanna, I can't pronounce her last name, from the bank, is our treasurer. So I hope you enjoy yourself tonight. And would you like to take over, Luke?
Okay. All right, I'm going to start. Mike will be back in a second. He had to see a man about a horse, so we'll be right back. Anyway, I'm glad I'm on video. This is terrific. Mike's going to love that. So we're going to start with the uncontested races and give everyone an opportunity to meet and greet with who's running. And so I'm going to call in no particular order, although I've set them up there. Sue Taylor. Sue here? No? Okay. Stormwater, Dave Perry. Come on up, Dave. You're on camera, so you have to get up.
I know this.
I know. You know the drill. We've done this before. Mr. Q. And Ms. Schwab. And, okay, so if Sue's not here, I think I can, well, actually, we'll just stick with that. That'll be fine.
Get ready to bring up.
I wasn't planning on doing this one.
Okay, now, the rules are, you can't be heard unless your voice is close to the mic. And we are taping for YouTube, which is terrific. We've done that the last couple of years. I think people enjoy being able to see the questions and answers. So, if you want to be heard nicely, you'll be close to the mic. And, you know, basically for the uncontested races, we're just trying to introduce you to the townsfolk who are going to be voting on April 2nd, right? It's April 2nd? Yes? Okay. So I'll start with you, Dave, since you volunteered so readily to get up here, right? So, Dave, why are you running for the stormwater officer, and what do you hope to accomplish as in that position? Why don't you just give us a little...
Well, there's two reasons. The number one reason is nobody else would do it. So if somebody's going to step up and be in this position, then I think it might as well be me, because I have a background in conservation. I've been involved in conservation in 2 different towns for a period of about 18 years. So when the position became available and there was no way to fill it, I decided, okay, let's, if somebody's going to fill it, let's get somebody in there at least can talk and walk the walk.
Okay.
And that's about it. And because there's things to be done in it.
So for the uninitiated, what is the water officer, what's the stormwater officer do?
Not much. Let's be honest, you know, it's not a very high-paid job, so we don't do much.
Right.
What it is there are stormwater regulations set in place that have to be enforced. There's not a lot to do here in town because we don't have big commercial development.
Right.
When developments, we disturb over an acre, then stormwater gets involved.
Okay.
We have a stormwater committee, it's pretty much dissolved, we don't use it. It's mostly going around for enforcement and making sure that the town complies with what we call an MS4 permit with the EPA and the DEP. I have other ideas that I want to combine a couple of departments in town to meld together and be the stormwater agency. But that's to come in the very near future.
Okay, very good. Mr. Q, you're running for moderator again. I understand in this town it's a one-year term, so
It
it's
is,
an annual event for you.
it sure is.
All right, so why don't you tell us why you've subjected yourself once again to be the moderator? I know you do a terrific job, everyone talks about it,
Thank
and what you hope to accomplish in the next year.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I'm very grateful to the people of Rehoboth for the confidence that they've put in me since 2007 when I was first elected to the position. I view the moderator's job as a very, very important one. Our town meeting is almost a sacred thing. It's where we do our business, it's where we make our decisions, it's where voters get up to express their opinions, whatever those opinions might be on the issues that are facing us. And I've enjoyed the position very, very much. There's no doubt about it. 35 years of public school teaching was certainly very, very good on-the-job training for going in and taking that position. As I said, I enjoy it very much. I'm very grateful that the folks in Rehoboth have confidence in me, and as long as I'm healthy and as long as the folks in town still have confidence in me, I intend to serve the town in that capacity.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. And, you know, I should start out by saying I want to thank all the folks who are here as candidates. It's a thankless task. We all know that. I mean, we don't get paid much, if anything. And we volunteer a lot of our time, a lot more than people realize in public service. So I don't think anyone's in it for themselves. I'm sure of that. So I thank you all for stepping up. And then finally, on this panel, Ms. Schwal, Laura Schwal, if you could tell us why you want to be the town clerk again.
Well, I absolutely love my job. I've been a town clerk for the past 5 years, even better than I dreamed it would be. I love Rehoboth, and I love the residents, and I like finding new ways of making town government more accessible to the public.
Very good. Okay. Well, thank you much, panel. You are free to leave. Yeah, that's it. Unless you have more to add. No? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good. All right, so next, is Tish Badney here yet? No? Okay. I think, is George Cardona here? I haven't seen George. No? Okay. So why don't we put these, I have Tom Ennis, Ken Abrams, if you want to come up. Mr. Ennis, is he here? No? That's planning board, right? That's good. All right, we're gonna get some. You know what? Yeah, but I'm waiting for the script. Yeah. You can't wait to do all by yourself.
Yeah, that's great. I've been that way for years.
I love it. So, Ken, you're running for Parks Commission, along with Mr. Cardona. There's 2 seats available. And why don't you tell us why you were appointed, right, to fill a vacant seat? Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And you're running for a regular term now?
Right.
So why don't you tell us why you want to do that, what you hope to accomplish?
Well, the reason why I'm running for Parks Commission is I spent 22 years on the Veterans Memorial Committee. Started back in the 1980s when it was originally started with the Rotunda family. And I stuck with it all those years and until we eventually got the gazebo down there with Veterans Memorial, and sooner or later we're going to be turning the Veterans Memorial over to the Parks Commission, and it'll be under our jurisdiction, and I figured it's something that I could do to continue and also to be on the committee to do whatever I can with the Parks Commission.
Great.
Lifetime resident of Rehoboth, and that's it.
Very good. So you've done a great job so far, I'm sure, and I hope you get reelected.
I hope so too.
Okay. We'll see you on April 2nd.
That's it.
All right, that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Last year we didn't take any questions from the audience, and maybe there's none from Mr. Abrams, but, as we go along, I'm gonna have questions, Mike's gonna have questions, for the upcoming, panels of contested races. If any of you have questions, maybe if you could write them down and submit them to me up here, and we'll try to squeeze them in. Hopefully, we're gonna cover your questions for you. Trish is not here yet. Okay, I wanted to do the planning board together. Jake's here, yes?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Going solo?
You know what? Come on. We'll do Trish at the end.
He's so low too.
So Jake, you're running for planning board,
Yes, I am.
and as I understand it, there are 3 seats available, and you're running for one of those 3 seats. And so it's uncontested, but so tell us a little bit about your background and why you want to run for planning board. It's a fairly important position in town.
Well, I was approached a couple of weeks ago. They asked if I would like to, and I slept on it, and I said yes, I would go ahead and take the position. I had 22 years of doing landscape construction, and I enjoy the landscape. And the military transferred me out here in 2008. So, along with working as a veteran agent for the town of Rehoboth, I had my first and third Wednesday still open for meetings. So, since I needed to fill that, because my wife, my lovely wife, knows that I'm out in meetings all the time, so this now fills up the whole entire month, and that's where I'm at for the next 4 years. And I'm filling in for the remaining 4 years of the open seat right now. But I'm hoping to, I'm OJ10. Today when I took a veteran to the VA hospital, I took the bylaws with me, and I was reading the bylaws, and right now working on with the marijuana laws. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow, if it doesn't get snowed out.
Okay.
So it's OJ10, I'm a job trainer, and hoping to move forward and benefit to the town of Rehoboth. When I got here in 2008, I fell in love with the town of Rehoboth. I love seeing the 2-foot, 3-foot, 4-foot caliber trees along the roadside. So as Mike knows, I've really enhanced the landscape of my place, and I love trees, I love the landscape, I like to enhance it, not get rid of it. I've got more to learn with the planning board, but I'm hoping to be a major asset for the town of Rehoboth, and planning on being on board for a number of years.
Very good. Thank you. And Mike has a question from the audience, very important question.
Question from the audience, and maybe you don't have to answer this directly, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about what it represents. So, the audience member wants to know, where did you get that very fashionable shirt? It says, if you can't see, it says,
Mike
Rehoboth
Degnan?
7.
This came from Mike Degnan, and I'd like to state that the Anawan Pharmacy, we have all shirts, the denim shirts, long sleeve, short sleeve. We have polo shirts, and we have t-shirts. And I just had my wrist twisted from Kim Gundiz getting tank tops. So yes, we're gonna have tank tops. Glassware.
And this is all
And
in,
this is part of the,
Right.
in support of the 375th anniversary of Town of Rehoboth.
perfect.
And we have a number of events this weekend, this Saturday, depending upon the situation with Mother Nature and the 8-10 inches of snow we're gonna get. But we have an Easter egg hunt with COA, and then Sunday we have a talent show. And we have a number of contestants who are coming this Sunday. And at each of these events, we'll be selling these shirts here. And Mike Degnan would love to help me and assist me on this, right? Mike?
Where's the talent show?
The Degnan Rehoboth High School.
Excellent.
1 o'clock. The audition.
Oh, so it's
And then
like,
the talent show is May 5th.
like America's Got Talent type of thing.
Oh, Rehoboth's got talent.
Rehoboth's Got Talent. Oh, that should be terrific. So where would people get tickets for that if they wanted to?
At the door.
At the door.
And Degnan is on the subcommittee for the talent show and the audition. So we're looking for a lot of people to come. We do have a number coming this time.
It's not too late.
It's never too late, never too late.
Excellent. To be a participant.
Participant, come and enjoy.
Oh, that
Buy some
sounds
shirts.
Good.
Mike, you can use a shirt.
So we're looking forward to a whole year's worth of events I'm hearing.
Yes,
Right.
we, all the way up. And then our grand finale is the parade for the town of Rehoboth, which is going to be on October 7th, which will start over Redwood Plain and end at the intersection of 118 and 44.
Nice.
So we're looking for participants. We have excellent bands that are coming from Philadelphia, Boston, military band. So it's going to be a grand finale October 7th, so looking for everybody to come on out and keep your fingers crossed, Mother Nature, it's going to be nice.
Okay, good. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Great. So I think we're going to go right to the selectmen. So candidates for selectmen. Jerry Schwal is running for re-election. I have all the things right here. Mike Costello, Greg Chapman, Jonathan Clark, and Tony Oliver. Did everyone make it?
No.
No? No,
No, Jonathan
Okay.
and, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen. You know what, John will take care of you. Just sit where you want, John. That's good. This is good practice, because right here.
It's just like a selectmen's meeting. And the music stops.
We have a quorum, right? Okay. All right. So we have Jerry. Jonathan? Nope, Tony. Get rid of that Jonathan. Yeah.
I could be here for 10 minutes though.
There you go. I just don't want to get confused because I'm going across here. Tony, Greg and Mike. Okay, perfect. Oh, geez, it's unplugged. That's not a good sign.
So while we're waiting, I can answer Mr. Degnan's question, because I'm sure he's going to write one, where did I get my fashionable shirt?
Oh, geez.
Amazon.
Amazon? Okay, good. Gotta keep Amazon going. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the softball questions. You guys, some of you guys have done this before. So I'll start with you, Mr. Schwal. Why do you want to run for selectman, and what do you hope to accomplish as a member of the board?
Okay. I think the main reason that I want seeking a second term is to finish some of the things that we worked very, very hard on during my first term. I will tell you that the present Board of Selectmen, I'm a little sad that Sue has decided not to run for re-election, because the present Board of Selectmen is one of the most functional groups I have ever worked with. We don't always agree, which is a good thing, but when we disagree, we do so respectfully. And we've been able to get certain things accomplished and move other things forward that we now need to bring to closure. I'll give you a couple of specific examples, and the big one is the regional school agreement. We have spent hours and hours and hours working on the proposal that was given to us by the school committee, trying to find ways that will make it fair and equitable to both member towns, Dayton and Rehoboth. But we have to find a way to be able to spend the same amount of money that we're spending, if not more, on our children's education, but to allocate that fairly between Dayton and Rehoboth. Right now, Rehoboth's share of the regional school budget is about twice what Dayton pays. And it's getting to the point where the rest of our government is shrinking and we can't provide the services that we need. So it's not about saving money and taking it away from the schools, it's just allocating it better. The other thing is we need to do something with our municipal buildings. That's probably the one thing that, if I look back over the past 3 years, I wish we would have been able to accomplish, is to bring to the voters a plan that resonated with them and that they would support. We came close, 126 votes, right? We lost 5. But it made us get sharper, and we are now looking at alternative methods of construction. We've looked and we've heard the feedback about we don't like the 2 buildings together, so that's why we're looking to purchase a piece of land, put town hall on. So there's a few things that we want to bring to closure, and I will tell you that's the main reason that I'm running, to see that those things do come across the finish line.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Oliveira?
See if I want to see it again, didn't make it last year, trying this year to do it, see if I can bring an honest, fair opinion to what the town needs, what is factual, what isn't, what's the real bottom line number, what isn't, help bring the municipalities to realization of having a new town hall, whether start with that or the police, either one, any of them, just to get something moving. You know, as an independent, you know, giving the people an independent voice, where you can tell them, here it is, this is an honest assessment, this is an honest value, this is what you're getting, and here's what you're gonna pay for. That's why I decided to run again this year.
Very good. Mr. Chapman?
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Appreciate everybody that showed up out here in the audience. The reason I'm running for selectman is I've been asked this question quite a bit throughout over the last year, and I've truly sat back and thought it was a difficult question at first, but it's actually pretty easy for me. And truly what I believe is, as a fairly new resident to the town, but with a long history of ties, I've always, I think, had a general consensus, as everybody else in this room, for the love of Rehoboth. And I was able to build my dream home with my family and move here just recently. And I'm hoping that that lineage will carry on with my daughters, and they'll be raising my grandkids here as well. That being said, I think just my background growing up and established in public safety and other various appointed and elected positions, I think I was, in my military background, I think I was truly just meant to be service to the civilians and the public. And I just want to bring a fair and balanced opinion, maybe a fresh perspective, a new perspective, and not change things overnight. I mean, certainly the way things are right now is the reason that I moved my family here to raise my children, and I'd just like to continue that. But I think with my diverse background in my military, law enforcement careers, as well as my appointed and elected positions throughout the time frame of my adult lifehood, I think I could bring a louder and boisterous voice for the residents, the employees, and the business of Rehoboth.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chapman. Mike, you're up. Why do you want to run?
Why do I want to run again, right?
Right.
Thank you. I want to thank the RBA for inviting us and having this event every year. It lets the public be aware of what our candidates stand for. I have three reasons. Number one reason is my love for this town. My number two reason is the love of the people in this town. And the third reason is for the ability to help every person in this town. That's my bottom line, because I get so much enjoyment out of helping people that this is the reason I do this. There's a few items that the selectmen are working on now that they were working on when I left being a selectman. I want to jump in on them and help them move those things along, because as Jerry said, those things are very crucial and important to this community. I also want to be able to go into as a selectman with my eyes wide open and ready to work, because being a selectman for 2 terms, I have that experience to be able to go in there and without any training. And the other thing is, I want to make sure that our community stays the way our community is ruled, and the character that it stands for. And also, I'd like to say happy birthday to Rehoboth.
Very good. Okay. Right.
We'll go in reverse order, so we'll start with Mike Costello. Next question. What is your leadership position on what the town should be doing or not doing for the new town offices and public safety facilities? What is your vision?
As you know, as being a selectman in 2011, the board at that time, we tried to put through a plan to get a new town hall. Since then, our other facilities have deteriorated, and we're looking at a public safety building also. I don't think that we need to come up with a concrete plan that not only houses the employees and the facilities that we need, but also brings us into the future. We don't need to put something together that is financially inexpensive, but it doesn't bring us into the future. We need to bring us into the future so that our children and our grandchildren can enjoy the abilities and ideas of your board. We need to look at different items, different things very closely. The selectmen are working on a piece of property right now that's going to incorporate a sizable piece that's next to it that could give us an area where we could build on this town hall and public safety building. But again, I don't want to see us rushing into this and putting something up that is because of finances that is less than, is not going to bring us into the future. We need to have something that brings us into the future.
Thank you. So Mr. Chapman, same question. What is your leadership position on what the town should be doing or not doing for the new town offices and public safety building? Or what's your vision around that property?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think they're going in the right direction. As Jerry said earlier, they're looking at different properties and whatnot to separate town hall from municipal, and that was taken from, valuable input from people that are looking at these buildings. I think really the bigger question is the funding of it. And, as a resident, nobody likes to have their taxes raised, but the reality of it is that this project won't pay for itself. So I think that's what we should be looking at more so, is how we figure out the best way to fund the project. I don't think there's a dispute that these buildings need to be replaced for the long term, not the short term, so that we can enjoy them and have safe environments and for our future residents of Rehoboth. So I think that's where we need to really concentrate, is how we're going to do this financially responsibly.
Thank you. So Mr. Oliveira, same question?
I think buying that property, they should have bought it at the last meeting, they didn't. I think leaving it in the voters' hands, letting them decide whether they should have bought it or not. Now you bring it back to the table, people have more time to think about it. Nobody wants to see the taxes go up. You had an opportunity to buy it, you should have bought it. And then you can work out how you want to what you want to put there first. It should be the town office. That place is not good. It should be the first building built is the town office on that property. If they can buy it, and work all the notice and hear the public's input on it, and hear everything everybody has to say as a valued opinion, I believe they can get that going real quick, real soon. It's going to come down to funding. There's grant writers, there's many ways to get funding for it. You just got to think outside the box on how you're going to do it. It needs to be town office first.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schwab.
Can I take about 2 hours?
No,
You cannot. So let me see if I can hit some high points. The reason that we did not buy it at the last meeting was to make sure that the way that we were going to pay for it was the best way for the residents. We have now been able to do that. The good news is no one's taxes are going to go up when we buy that property. We have some funds that are available that we will be able to use for that. We also have ongoing revenue that's coming in through the pilot program that we will be able to take a short-term note, probably 3 to 4 years, and use that reoccurring income that's coming in to be able to pay those note payments. So the good news is we're going to town meeting, special town meeting in May. Fully expect that the residents will approve this, and the great thing about it is there's no increase in taxes. So that takes care of the land. That now, with that piece of property that we're buying, I believe it's about 15 acres, will unlock some other landlocked land that we have and give us a parcel of about 40 acres total that the town will own in that area, which opens up incredible opportunities for us for today, tomorrow, and significantly into the future, as Mike was talking about. One of the things that we promised the citizens we would look at is alternative construction methods. And I'm not sure if anyone's had the opportunity to see the number of special meetings that we've had, workshops, where that's all that we talk about is the public safety building and the town hall building project and what our plan is. We just had someone come in that we're looking at prefabricated buildings, engineered and built off-site, brought in. Anything, it's not your father's Oldsmobile type thing when you start looking at some of these projects. Anything that you can do stick-built in a field, you can build in a factory, in a controlled atmosphere. Based on that, we're looking at about anywhere from about 15 to 20% cost savings by being able to do that. We could take that plan that we have right now, move it over there, and we'll save about 15 to 20%. There's also the advantage of being able to get those buildings constructed more quickly. We're talking about 10 to 14 weeks of construction time to build this and to have it set. So you can be doing your site work simultaneously. So there's been tremendous work that's been done because we've listened to the feedback of the residents. And by being able to purchase this unique opportunity with this land and put the town hall building there, that frees up now other opportunities for us for a public safety building. When I see our law enforcement workers come to work in Rehoboth and never have a history of respiratory issues, and then they develop, bronchitis, they develop asthma by being in that building, it tells me that the time has ended where we can pick and choose. We need to do a project, and we will do the best job that we possibly can to bring to the voters something that we are talking, I agree with Mike, we don't want something just for now, but we're talking about buildings that will last us 40, 50 years. We're anticipating the growth of the town, and we're allocating that space into both of these buildings. We spent a year working with department heads and the police chief and the fire chief and the head of ambulance and REMA about what do you need, and we have that. So now it's how do we build it economically, and also we're looking at green energy. So it's not just the cost of the building, it's the cost of operating that building once it's up. So we anticipate to be able to save significant dollars in the operating costs. Right now, you turn the heat on in town hall and you just watch it go outside the windows. So I appreciate the extra time, but I'll wrap up there. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to go on to the next question. I'm going to start in the same order. Softball questions are done, I'm sorry. And you can't know that this was an unexpected question, so I'm just going to go right with it. So I tried to read and understand the state law last night on being a town employee, special or regular, and the rules about if and when a department head could also serve on one or more unpaid town boards. It's not entirely clear to me, and I'm a lawyer. I have a hard time reading it. But what is your opinion on possible conflicts of interest and your probable need to recuse yourself from votes, which are certainly going to conflict with your department head position? So I think that's a fair question. I'm going to ask it of all the members, but of course,
But it only
you're
depends
first.
on me. Yeah.
Of course.
I knew it was done.
Yeah, so go ahead, tell us what you
Good
think.
question, good question. First of all, the way ethics explained it to me was, and the simple, and it was even a simple way, was that if you're appointed, you can be elected. If you're elected, you can't be appointed. Okay, that's the way it works. So what they're saying is I'm appointed. I can be, if the people choose to elect me as a selectman, I can be elected.
Okay.
So when the time comes and I'm on the board, hopefully, after April 2nd, then when a situation comes up with my department, I can excuse myself, they said, but I can sit on the other side of the table and answer questions only relative to the facts. I can't sway the board in any way on their vote. I eliminate myself as the vote, but I can answer any relevant questions that they may have on the issue at hand. But that would be every time that my department is brought before the board.
And that might include some collective bargaining agreements?
For your
department?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
But again, if any of the board members have questions of me pertaining to the issue only,
Yeah.
then I can answer those questions with facts only.
Okay. Very good. So, I mean, this is the rough and tumble world of politics, boys, so this is your chance. You can answer the question, you can comment on his response, or not at all. It's up to you. I'll leave it to you, Craig. You're next.
So my answer would be Mike probably won't have to worry about that, because when I'm elected, we'll be looking at his guidance, and I'll be able to vote on that.
Okay. Tony, what do you think?
My personal opinion is, it doesn't do the town any justice, because they have 5 selectmen, and if he's selectman and running his department, that leaves 4. You can't vote 50-50. It doesn't do any justice to the town. I can't see how the town ever had a bylaw in place, or a charter in place, to eliminate that from happening, because now that opens up the door for any officer in this town, or any other employee, to run for selectman and hope that he can sway his department. I'm totally against it, to be honest with you.
Okay. Fair enough. Mr. Schwab?
First, I'll address the probable elephant in the room, because people could say, well, you know, a little self-serving because your wife works for the town and she's a department head.
Sure.
But there's a big difference. Laura is an elected official. She does not report to the Board of Selectmen. Cheryl Bouvet is an elected official, reports to the people, not to the Board of Selectmen. So we do not have an inherent conflict as a department head. So I know that question's been asked of me in light of the current election, and that's the answer to that one. To the point where, when I sign the warrant every week, though, belt and suspenders, a legal term, right? I make sure that, and it's printed right on the warrant, that I'm approving everything in that warrant with the exception of anything that has to do with the town clerk's office. So I do not approve any expenditures for the town clerk's office to be paid out. So that takes care of that one. I think it's going to be up to the voters. Let's face it, we have another person running who does work for the town as a vendor. And a lot of work for the town.
Sure, it's a small town.
And so where do you stop? Do you say that just because you work in the town, or do you work for the police department or the fire department or whatever, you should be excluded from running?
Right.
I will tell you that, as you know, one of the things that I will do when I'm reelected, I like that, right? That was positive. If Mike is sitting there with me, is I will ask through our chairman to have our town council very clearly delineate the rules of which we will operate when you have a department head sitting on the Board of Selectmen. Just to make sure, this board is very transparent, we make sure we do everything out in the open, and I just want to make sure that that continues. So to be perfectly on the safe side, I will take my guidance from our town council.
Very good. Okay, good answers. Tim? You can start any order you want.
All right, well, this is kind of a interesting question. With all the school violence that's been going on and things like that, I was just curious, what measures should this town undertake to try to keep our schools safer? And I really don't want to answer just the person to the school committee. It's like a personal opinion on what you think should be done to make the schools safer and how to do that. Jerry?
Okay. Again, the best predictor of the future is what people's done in the past, and I will tell you that the current Board of Selectmen have already met in executive session with the Dayton Board of Selectmen to discuss this topic. What we talk about in executive session, as you know, is not for public knowledge, nor should any specific procedures that our police departments are undertaking to protect our children, should they be broadcast. Okay? So I'm going to be a little bit vague. I will tell you, though, that we have a police chief in this town that is 100% plus committed to the safety of our children, regardless of where they go to school. So the high school is in Dayton. We are very concerned about the security procedures at the regional high school, because they are our children that are in that school. And regardless, I think our chairman did say this, I will share in executive session, he said when it comes to the
the protecting of our citizens. There are no town lines. And I'm happy to report that the Dayton Board of Selectmen agreed with that statement as well. So I will tell you that there are things that are underway. There are protocols that are being developed to address and have been in the past, and now we're taking another opportunity to take a look at it in light of the recent craziness that's going on, because it could happen here. And we want to make sure that we are doing everything we possibly can to protect our citizens. So I apologize for being vague, but there's only so much we can say.
Mr. Olivera, what are your thoughts on the school safety?
Having 2 children in the school system right now, I would like to see another resource officer put in the schools. We had them in the past, we haven't replaced them. There is no school resource officer currently. I'd like to see one hired, appointed, moved there. One officer, 180 days a year. I think the citizens of the town will go for it all day long, especially knowing that their kids are protected very well. We did have a gentleman here that was here, very popular. A lot of people knew who he was. He's gone, he moved into another department, better his career, totally understandable. We need his replacement.
Thank you. Mr. Chapman?
I would have to agree, certainly coming from a law enforcement background and a military background, more police officers, especially within the school, would certainly help at first glance. Secondly, there's a lot of talk about all these different things that you can and should do for schools to reinforce and make them a little more protected, but I think you got to look at the current state of what you have for protocols, as Jerry said earlier, and just work to make those better. I was tasked many years in the military on several deployments in very austere environments, and that's what we had to do on a daily basis, was work on how we would protect our own. And there's certainly a lot of great ideas out there that aren't big hits in the wallet as well, but work with what you have and make it better, as well as adding that school resource officer would certainly be a great start.
Thank you. Mike?
Yes, back in 2011, when I was a selectman, I had a meeting with the superintendent. Upon arriving at the school, I went through the door that was locked, and a student came out and opened the door for me as they were leaving the premises. That really struck a chord with me, because we just had that incident in Connecticut at the time, and that was running right through my mind. So I immediately attended many school committee meetings saying that we needed to update our security at the school, because after researching it, I found that we had doors unalarmed, that students could open up and put blocks in the door and go out during periods and come back in. There was no cameras to see in front of the school or in the back of the school, so there was a lot of unsecured areas of the school that could be compromised. Myself, getting in the school like that, I could have been anyone. It's just dangerous, especially with what's happening since that 2011. Since then, our school committee has updated a lot of their security up at the school and at both Beckwith and Palmer River, and I commend them on that. I think there still needs to be more, and a resource officer is what happened today in Maryland. A resource officer is the reason why those two children are still alive, and not many more have been injured, and that's the possibility. And again, like someone said, it can happen anywhere. It doesn't just. Rehoboth isn't off the map. Rehoboth, it could happen in Rehoboth. So I would be very strong on security for our schools, especially our children.
Can I add one thing, though? Yeah, sure. Very quickly. This is a matter, though, with the great intentions of our school committee, and I commend that. This is a matter for public safety experts. And our school committee members and the administration of the school are not public safety experts. And they need to involve the police chiefs and the fire chiefs when these protocols are being developed. These are the individuals who know. These are the individuals who are going to get called in when everybody else is trying to run out of that building. They're the ones who are going to be going in. So we should not be developing protocols in isolation.
I need to change my question for the next panel. You know that question's on the next panel for the school committee.
I figured it would, and that's why I wanted to preempt that.
Yeah.
This really does, so if you're taking notes, involve the police chief.
Yep.
But the police chiefs definitely need to be involved, and they need to know ongoing what the situations are in the schools.
Anything else, panel? No?
We have a question from the audience.
Oh, terrific.
Which is nice. So we'll start with Jerry this time. What is your attendance record at town meeting, for the current town meeting, Board of Selectmen meeting, sorry? And if you have not been attending, how could you be an effective selectman?
I don't think I've missed a town meeting since we moved here. They've been more shaking her head, yes, so she's a keeper of the attendance, and that's all matter of public record, by the way, if anyone wants to see that. I don't think I've missed any town meetings or special town meetings. As far as the Board of Selectmen, I have been on the board for 3 years, and I have probably missed maybe 5 meetings because of work calling me out of town. The good news is, as of June 30th, I did retire, so that is no longer pulling me out of town. And there were, I will just add this, there were many nights that our meetings would go till 10 o'clock. I would go home, get 3 hours of sleep, get up, leave for the airport by 2:30, and catch the first flight so I could be in my office in Florida. So I don't believe that you take a position and then come up with reasons why you're not there. This is not a 2-hour-a-week job. For the past 2 weeks, I believe we've had meetings or events just about every night, including on a Saturday night. Because sometimes there's too many things going on for us to handle at a regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen's meeting where you handle the business for that week. So we've had meetings that went usually for 2.5 hours a session. On the regional school agreement, I think we've had 4 of those, maybe 5 of those. The building committee. So this is not something, you have to be able to be there more than 2 hours a week. Probably takes 2 hours a week, if not more, just to read your packet on Sunday afternoon to be prepared for the meeting on Monday night. It's not a part-time job, it's a full-time job. So.
Okay. Mr. Oliver?
Well, the benefit I have is I get to watch the meetings at home on my couch, not a selectman at the current time. If I am elected as selectman, anybody knows me, knows I can put the work in. Believe me when I tell you I work. I watch it at home, I sit, I listen, certain things they write little notes down, this way here, if it comes back up, and you can ask a question about it, So, put the work and the time in, that I can do. I'm just the benefit, I get to watch it from my house right now. Channel 9.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chapman, I know you're new to the town, so you don't have the track record, but have you been able to attend the annual meetings and any of the Board of Selectmen meetings?
Yes, I have. I've attended a few total between town meeting and Board of Selectmen meetings. Also, on the personnel board right now as well. Between my duties, I work day shift, so night meetings are usually pretty easy unless something critical happens at work. And I'm able to be flexible with my time frames at night as far as any other obligations and meetings. So I would certainly, once elected and seated as a selectman, would dedicate my full attention and undivided attention as well to the town and to those meetings.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Costello?
I've been involved since '78, and I can't count how many I may have missed since '78, but I know in the last 10 years, not very many. My selectman tenure was 6 years, and I think I missed 3 or 4 meetings in 10 years. In 6 years. And Jerry's absolutely correct. You've got to come prepared. You can't just open your packet at the meeting. You need to be prepared because there's five people at that table. You all need to be prepared, and then because your opinion might not be the right opinion. So those other people need to make you look at different angles of the issue or different ideas of the issue, and then you come up with a consensus of everyone. Those are the things that have to be done. So you have to do your homework, you have to make sure you even go outside the packet and research, and even at times go to talk to people that might be involved in an issue that you come across. It's not a thing where it's 2 or 3 hours on a Monday night. It's many hours during the week if the issues are needed.
Okay, thank you. Mike, this question is specifically to you because of the interesting position that you're in. It appears that you're doing a great job on the highway superintendent job. I talked to a fair amount of people in town, and I haven't heard any negativity about it. The main concern that I've heard from people is that, can you guarantee that that's not going to suffer? I mean, what you just said, that, the selectman does require a lot of work, and so does the highway superintendent. If push comes to shove, I guess, where do you go? I mean, what's most important to Mike, and how can we be guaranteed that we have 100% out of our highway superintendent and 100% out of our selectmen?
I think most of my daily routine is management, is directing. If I can manage my personnel correctly, I can come out with the results that we've been having. I also, if anyone knows me, knows that I get things done, and I'll spend the time and the hours to do it. And that won't suffer at all. I was working a full-time job with more hours when I was selecting. I had my job, daily job was from 4 a.m. to 7 at night. So as soon as I come home, I had to go to bed. So this job is, I can get up at 7 to 3. Although I don't work that because I always put the extra hours in. But again, I always work hard, and my performance would not suffer at all because I see a vision for the highway department, and it's going down the right path right now, and I don't want that to suffer at all. So, so I would be, that would never cross my mind to have the highway department suffer.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Chapman, do you have any comments on our feelings about that?
I would agree with your comments that Mike's doing a fantastic job as superintendent. Again, being a new resident, the last 2 winters has been a large improvement for the roads, and especially the winter, and he's been doing a fantastic job, and I love they keep him just focused on that. And once I was done, I would be able to put my 100% in for the rest. You wouldn't have to worry about that.
Mr. Oliveira, would you have a comment to that?
Does he do a good job? Yes, he does. I see him out there, I've seen him working, good man. Hands-on guy, especially being a taxpayer, and you see supervisor literally working instead of pointing his finger, that's big to me. That means a lot to me, a hands-on guy, To do the both, I don't know, I'm not comfortable with it, I have my own personal opinion, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Shaw, any comment on that?
I don't like teeing it up for me. Mike really is doing an exceptional job. It's probably the best that I have seen in the 20 years that I've lived here. The morale of the department is up. The amount of work that we're getting done, it's not by accident that our roads are in better condition. So he's doing an exceptional job. The highway superintendent also reports to the Board of Selectmen. So it's really the responsibility of the Board of Selectmen that if we feel that that position is sliding, that we hold that department head accountable just like we would any other department head. And I don't think that would become an issue, but if it did, I know the other members of the board would hold Mike accountable, and he would have a choice to make. Is that fair enough, Mike?
That's very good.
Okay. All right, great. I think we're done with questions. We're going to give you folks, we'll give you a minute and a half or so just to wrap up. Tell the audience, tell the World Wide Web why you want to be elected for your position. And why don't we start with you, Jerry, and then work our say this way.
Should have started with this, but I'll have a second swing here. Thank you very much for filling the void that we have in this town. of getting the candidates out in front of the public. So thank you to the RBA, and thank you to you individually for the work that you do. As I said in the beginning, we have some work to finish. We have some things. This is a very tricky time in our town to make sure that we juggle all the balls correctly. We struggle every year with our budget. We've got a $26 million a year budget total. We spent $17 million of that $26 million last year on education between the DR schools and Bristol Aggie and Plymouth. We spend $9 million to handle everything else in this town. So it's always a challenge to be able to provide all the services that everyone wants and keep taxes where they are and still deal with the infrastructure issues that we face every day. I have a background of being able to do some of that in my professional life, being able to make things work. You've seen me for 3 years. I've got a track record. I can tell everybody that it will be very much the same for the next 3 years. I'll show up, I'll be prepared, I'll work hard. I believe in good government, I believe in open government. And I'm very proud of the board that I serve with. As I said before, one of the most functional groups that I've ever had the honor to work with. And I look forward to being able to continue that for another 3 years if the people will have me. So I do ask for your support. Thank you.
Mr. Oliver?
As an independent running, I'd like to work with some of the board members. They are doing a good job. They do bring some good ideas. But as an independent voice for the people, the taxpayer, you can get an honest answer out of my mouth. You're not going to get no hidden agenda, no special slice of pizza. You're going to get an honest assessment and, moving the town in a forward direction, with, plenty of the people that I know in different areas in different towns, and different selectmen, and city councilors, hearing some of their ideas and what they've done to get things done and figuring out how they're going to get it, and whether it's an assistant from another town or another city, somebody that you know that can help you write a grant or know of a grant or something that can help pay for something. That's where you take sometimes somebody from the outside to come on the inside and just bring a fresh perspective to the board. So that's why I run. I have good ideas. I have some people that I can rely on, that I can ask a question. I can forward it to the colleagues, say, here's something, what do you think? It's somebody from the outside coming in with fresh new ideas, with a different way of doing town politics. It's a fresh voice for the people.
Very good. Okay, Mr. Jonathan?
The reason I'm running for selectman ultimately is because I've realized growing up that if you sit back and wait for someone else to do something for you, it may not happen. I'm a man of action versus reaction, and I'd like to be able to be a louder, more boisterous voice for the residents. Again, bringing a fresh, different perspective. Throughout my adulthood, being in the military and law enforcement, I've been challenged quite often, specifically with my military background and several deployments between different third world countries, and I've had to make very difficult decisions in very hostile and austere environments, and I've been able to do that. Once elected as selectman, I would certainly, I believe with my skill set and background in various appointed and elected boards as well. I have retirement background now in my third term in the town of North Attleboro. I have the personnel board here in Rehoboth. I'm also a union steward or president for police union. And I think all those coupled together, I would be a perfect fit for the void in this board now to be able to carry on business and make it even better than what it is now. And I've certainly seen vast improvements. Again, maybe a new resident, but not new to Rehoboth with the ties that I've had. And I've seen great changes and great strides made in this town on the board to bring it to where it is now. And I think I can pick up that torch and run with it very easily without little to any supervision and dedicate the time that's needed and which is warranted by the residents and employees and businesses of this town to continue to run and keep Rehoboth green.
Very good. Mike, why don't you wrap up?
Okay. I said in the beginning, I had 3 reasons why I want to be your next selectman. 1 is the love of this town. 2 is the people of this town that I love. And 3 is the enjoyment that I get out of helping anyone with a question or an issue. The other thing is, I've worn many hats in this town. I've been volunteering since 1988, when I first got on the fire department, and I moved up into the town hall after that, onto many committees, many boards. I've been chair of many, so I have a lot of experience in the town government as a whole. As your selectman for 6 years also. I was elected in 2011. It wasn't an easy time, as many of you might know. We didn't have 2 people in the audience, we had a number of people in the audience. So we got all through that. We're at the state that we are now, where our present board is doing things every week and getting stuff done in this town. I want to continue that. Like I said, there's things on the board right now that were there when I left, and I want to continue that forward and make sure that those get finished, and especially our town buildings, our regional agreement, and things like that. So most of all, I have a supporting wife, or else I wouldn't have been able to do anything that I do. So thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck on April 2nd.
Thank you.
All right. Tish, you're here. Come on up. It's going to be our intermission. Intermission, yeah.
You have a song, right?
Yeah. You have a song? Yeah. Sorry, Trish, we had Jake a little earlier. We didn't want to leave you out. Yep. DR School Committee, you're up on deck, so get ready. So Trish, you're running for planning board. There are 3 seats available, so it's an uncontested race for you, which is terrific for you. Would you just maybe tell the audience and our viewing audience why you want to run and what you hope to accomplish?
Well, I've lived in Rehoboth my entire life, and I have an extreme passion for the town and where it's going. And my past experience from being on the water commission for the last couple of years, I think will help to also coincide with being on the planning board. Our resources of water and what our town becomes means a lot to me. You know, it's a pretty good, strong spot in my entire life. So I just don't want to see Rehoboth become Seacom or Devon. Any of those, you know, I just, that's why we all live here. You know, and that's what I want to keep it. And being on the planning board, I hope that I can bring that to the table.
Very good, I'm sure you will. Good luck on April 2nd.
Thank you.